It can feel like a different era sometimes, but 15 years ago, I signed the Affordable Care Act into law.
That's it.
The goal back then was to establish that here in America, healthcare is not just a privilege, but a right for every single American. And together we've taken a big step in the right direction. Today, almost 50 million people have gotten quality, affordable healthcare through the ACA. That's 1 in 7 Americans. And the percentage of people without insurance has been nearly cut in half.
Donald Trump knows that the assault from his administration, and of course Elon Musk on the most important and essential programs in our government, is incredibly unpopular. He sees it every day with the terrible media coverage he is getting from even the Fox propaganda outlet. He sees it at Republican town halls where members are being absolutely humiliated as boos rain down on them. And he is reminded again by one of the people who gets under his skin the most in Barack Obama, who put out a video today talking about how important the programs are that Donald Trump is going after, and it has Trump panicking. We're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. And it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into the post from President Obama, I want to show you just how scared Donald Trump is of this conversation in a clip right here.
For them, I think we should get it back.
Mr. President,
the spending bill that passed last night aims to cut $2 trillion.
Right.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. Okay? This will not be read my lips. It won't be read my lips anymore. We're not going to touch it. Now, we are going to look for fraud. I'm sure you're okay with that, like people that shouldn't be on, people that are illegal aliens and others, criminals in many cases. And that's with Social Security. We have a lot of people. You see that immediately when you see people that are 200 years old that are being sent checks for Social Security. Some of them are actually being sent checks. So we're tracing that down, and I have a feeling that Pam is going to do a very good job with that. But you have a lot of fraud.
The more that Donald Trump denies the truth or efficacy of a story, just that much more, you know that it's true. And him saying, no, of course, we're not going after Medicaid. No, we're not going after Social Security or Medicare. Why would you even ask me that this is a terrible reporter? It's fake news. You must be with CNN or MSDNC or whatever. You know he's panicked. You know he is worried. And you know he understands, even in that broken brain of his, that people are turning their attention to this issue, especially with President Obama spotlighting it in a video he put out today on the 15th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act. And I want to take a look at it in full right here.
It can feel like a different era sometimes, but 15 years ago, I signed the Affordable Care Act into law.
That's it.
The goal back then was to establish that here in America, healthcare is not just a privilege, but a right for every single American. And together we've taken a big step in the right direction. Today, almost 50 million people have gotten quality, affordable healthcare through the ACA. That's 1 in 7 Americans. And the percentage of people without insurance has been nearly cut in half. That means more sick kids get medicine. More cancer patients have life-saving surgery. More people with pre-existing conditions enjoy the peace of mind they deserve. But here's the thing. Even though people like to talk about Obamacare, it didn't just happen because of me. It happened because Americans of all ages, from all across the country, had the courage to speak up about why healthcare reform mattered to them. When the Obama Presidential Center opens on the south side of Chicago next year, visitors will have a chance to hear from some of the folks who made the ACA a reality. and they'll get to see some of the objects that symbolized the fight for healthcare reform and helped convince Congress to do the right thing. You'll learn about Jim Hauser, who ran an auto repair shop with 9 full-time employees. Thanks to the ACA, Jim got help covering those workers, and he proudly wore his Master Automobile Technician pin to the State of the Union in 2011. Jim also brought his daughter Helen along, a 22-year-old freelancer who also got covered under the ACA. Besides hearing their stories, visitors will also get to see how people's lives have been changed forever thanks to the work we did together. And you'll get to hear from some of the leaders in my administration who worked and sacrificed for years to make it happen.
When I see people going into the Obama Presidential Center, I hope they come away with a sense that against all odds, progress can be made. And that counts on presidential leadership, elected representatives, people all around the country.
A lot of folks told me I'd pay a political price if I made healthcare reform a priority. Some of them predicted it would cost me re-election. But I've always said that I didn't run for president to put my approval rating up on a shelf and admire it. I did it to make a difference, so the choice was clear.
We were in the Oval Office talking, and he said, look, this is shaping up to be a one-term presidency. And that's okay with me as long as I can get done the things I want to get done. And healthcare reform is one of those things.
With everything going on right now, it's easy to feel like regular folks can't change this country for the better. But if it could happen 15 years ago, it can happen again. The ACA taught us that some things are bigger than politics. And working to make sure people don't lose their livelihoods when a family member gets sick is one of those things. That's why we did it. And we're not finished yet. I've always said that the ACA is like a starter house. It was a big step forward, but still just a first step. Now it's up to all of us to keep building on and improving the ACA until everyone has access to quality, affordable health coverage. When you visit the Obama Center in 2026, I hope you leave ready to keep making a difference. We look forward to seeing you next year.
If you look back at polling the most unpopular point of Donald Trump's presidency besides January 6th, which can we just talk for just 5 seconds about how that wasn't the end of all of this? I'm still shocked, but it's really just disgusting. The most unbold point of Donald Trump's presidency was when he was trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. It was one of the biggest jokes of the campaign when he said he had concepts of a health care plan. We know that's not true, and that conversation is coming back as we look back on the 15 years of the ACA and how we need to expand these programs instead of attacking them, which is what Donald Trump clearly wants to do. And President Obama, as we saw in that video, is reminding people this is the case, and even talked about this, like I said on the campaign trail, how Donald Trump did not have a plan, how Donald Trump does not care about a plan, how Donald Trump does not care about you more broadly. That is what his presidency has been. He's not only breaking his promises, but he's actively betraying them. He does not care that the cuts that he's making mostly affect his voters. And that's why there is this messaging void, this vacuum that is going on right now with Republicans running away from their town halls that Democrats are filling. And in doing so, AOC perfectly delivered a talking point on this exact topic, right here.
For all the big talk that Republicans and the Trump administration like to flap about working people, if you actually listen carefully, every once in a while they let the mask slip about what they actually think about us. You know, just last week, President Trump's lawyer, her name is Alina Habba, she went on television, and when she actually had to be faced with explaining her job, and when she actually had to be faced with doing her job, this is what she had to say. Quote, what intellectual thought? And she was asked about me. Quote, what intellectual thought? You were in a bar. You were in a bar, AOC, and not to have a drink, but to serve one. about the song it says about me. But But I want you to understand that she isn't just talking about me here. She's talking about you. She's talking about all of us. Because the entire job of the president's lawyer is to speak for him. Trump hired her to speak for him. So imagine what it means for our country that the president's own lawyer cannot even conceive of a working class person being intelligent simply because of the job that they have. This woman could not even recognize the American dream if it was fed to her on a silver spoon. But understand that this kind of disdain for working people by the most powerful people in this country doesn't just come from not being raised right. It's a shorthand for Elon Musk and Donald Trump's entire political agenda and a certain ugly kind of politics, lying to and screwing over working people so that they can steal from our health care and Social Security and veterans care to pay for tax cuts for the wealthiest and bailouts for their crypto billionaire friends. There's a word for this. Corruption.
The Republican assault on our healthcare system isn't just an important opportunity messaging-wise for Democrats to push back, but to also offer up a solution, an alternative. This cannot just be about pushing back against Donald Trump. Hopefully, crossing my fingers here in 4 years, we are done with this guy forever, and we have defeated J.D. Vance or Glenn Youngkin or whoever the Republicans put up when we have a Democratic president, House, and Senate. In that time, in that moment, there will be no more conversations about Donald Trump if our democracy survives that long. It will not be about him anymore. So leading up to 2018, that point, we have to provide solutions for people that aren't just based in pushing back against Donald Trump. The healthcare system is broken in this country. We have to fix. It's not enough to stop Donald Trump just from dismantling it. We need to take it a step further and offer up the solution to what we're going to do to actually fix what he has broken and what has been broken from the beginning. And my Congressman Maxwell Frost was talking about just that in a clip right here.
We know that this country doesn't have a health care program. It has a sickness care program. And there's a lot we need to do to ensure that we have universal health care for every single person in this state and across this country. Because in the richest country on the face of the earth, every American deserves to be healthy. So now they want to come for Medicaid. And Donald Trump is going to straight up lie to people's face. He'll say, we're going to love on Medicaid. But then they pass a bill that says they have to cut $880 billion from the committee that administers Medicaid and Medicare. The math ain't mathin'. It is going to cut Medicaid. They are going to make cuts to Medicaid if we let them go forward with this. And part of the reason I really wanted to talk about this at the State House is a lot of these Republicans in the State House and the State Senate are getting off way too easy. On one hand, they're here praising Elon Musk, praising Doge, praising Donald Trump. And the question that I'm here to ask them, and that I hope the press will start to ask them, is if you support cuts to Medicaid, do you not realize that you're supporting cuts to the Florida budget? That's how this works. We give federal dollars to the state of Florida so they can give health care to people that need it, children, pregnant people, and seniors. So if you're cheering on cutting Medicaid, you're cheering on losing money to help Floridians. And so the question we need to be asking these Republicans in these chambers are, what's your plan if Medicaid gets cut for Floridians? Are you going to raise taxes? Are you going to cut other programs? Or number three, which is what I think is going to happen, are you just going to remove health care for millions of Floridians? We need you guys need to start asking these people these questions, because they can't on one hand tweet that they're in favor of cutting Medicaid and the second hand come here to work and not be questioned every damn day what they're going to do to ensure that Floridians retain the health care that they deserve? And that's why I'm here, to ask that question, and I hope it'll get answered. Every Republican and Democrat in this chamber, in these chambers, should be fighting to protect Medicaid, because when you protect Medicaid, you protect Floridians, and that is your job.
People in some ways were drawn to Donald Trump because he seemed like an outsider who recognized how broken our system was, and he had some ability to fix it because he was on some reality TV show. Now that was never true, but it was true that the message of our broken system really resonated with people, and certainly our system is broken right now as Donald Trump is breaking it by being the dictator on day one he promised to be. So let's use this opportunity again to not just push back against him, but talk about the specific ways we can fix these broken programs to expand them to protect all people instead of sever them to serve billionaires. That is the opportunity right now. We have the message. We got to take advantage of it. We're certainly going to be on the show, and if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you soon.